Welcome back, folks, to another day of Age of Empire 2 casting here on my channel. We're again covering the Pick Your Poison tournament organized by Daniela and her crew, who I appreciate a lot for doing this whole spiel for us. So, yeah, big shout out to them, show them some love. Either way now. Today, we're finally looking for the first time at a matchup from the round of 4. Semi-finals, that is, in Group J. Contestants here are Cheese and 3Course, two players that I have cast already in this tournament, and yeah, we'll see how they match up against each other. I'm going into this with quite mixed expectations. I think 3Course had actually not looked as dominant lately as I might have expected, and Cheese on the other side, of course, massive underdog. Him being even in the final 4 in the first place is pretty incredible. So, well, we'll see what he can bring and throw at the table here for us to enjoy a great series, hopefully. Now, game 1 is going to be played on Golden Swamp, evidently, and the matchup seems to be Incas against Tatars. So, let's jump into that, shall we? And see who gets off to a better start in this hopefully exciting semi-final series. Just a reminder, maybe. This is the semi-finals, best of 3, just like all the previous rounds. The finals, however, is going to be a best of 5 format, so even more exciting than once we get into that final matchup. Anyways, for now, let's invest our full attention here for our two semi-final contestants here in bracket J. These two guys having played their semi-finals quite early, so fortunately we are able to get some casting going despite the issues that the recent update has brought to us fellow WoD enjoyers. Thankfully we have this one series available for the casting. So on the left side, it's Cheese in the blue, the 13th seed in the bracket here, as you can read at the top underneath those guys' names, and he's playing as the Tatars. Cavalry Archer Civilization, it says, but pretty cool civ overall, isn't it? You get extra food from your herdables, meaning you get access to more food, basically, in the early game than pretty much any other civ, with small exceptions. You get the extra bonus, of course, firing from heights, whenever that may apply. I don't think that is the best bonus on this map. As you see there, it's really entirely flat, so that one is not going to come into play on this one. But in general, it's just a beautiful Cav Archer. So if you're ever able to get into those Cav Archers, man, it just feels so good, doesn't it? You get free Thumbring and Parthian tactics. Such well, kind of essential techs really for those Cav Archer units. So yeah, you not only save the cost on those, but you also get them immediately once hitting the relevant ages, and that's really pretty great. And of course you also have some nice techs to back that up. Silk armor, really nice extra armor on your Cav Archers, makes that investment even a bit better. So that's the Tatars, but on the other side, we've got the Incas, one of my favorites. So kinda rooting for them here. Although the underdog oftentimes is my favorite here in the stream. But nonetheless, the Incas, what's not to love about this civ? Am I right? Also a civ that it has extra food available in the early game by merit of that free llama start. But they bring so much more to the table. You get twice as much value out of your houses. Awesome bonus in the early game when it comes to saving wood. Could especially be interesting on a hybrid map such as this one. You get villagers that are buffed by the blacksmith. Man, that is so good. So your infantry upgrades affect villagers. That has actually such underrated bonus. When you get raided by small numbers, you can really easily beat them down sometimes with villagers that other civs might not be able to. So a cool bonus to have, definitely. And also you have the stone discount on all your buildings. That is such a big one. you can, with this bonus, afford to drop a tower in feudal age and then still drop 1 TC as soon as you hit castle age without even gathering any more stone. Just one example of how this bonus could come into play. But of course, there's much more cool stuff about the Incas, including their unique units and their unit bonuses. But I'm going to have to cut it short here as the game is getting on the way and we don't want to miss out on any action. Cheese already with 44 seconds of idle TC time might be showing some signs of rustiness here. Maybe first game of the day, maybe the semi-finals pressure getting to them. But we have to remember this is not the level of play of the brackets G or H that we've been casting on the stream lately. We are looking at some players on my level, so be a little bit patient with some of those micro mistakes or whatever. You guys know what you're looking at here, right? I mean, this is good old community tournament stuff. Nonetheless, both these guys are slowly but surely approaching feudal age. Could be clicking up very soon, and it looks like 3 courses intent on doing that any moment here after getting Loom, and there he goes. Pretty nice timing there, 20 villagers, and out comes the upclick, has the mill, and it also is going for a second lumber camp here. No walling whatsoever out of the Incas, and also no barracks, so this is really curious. I would have potentially expected a dock at this point, or a barracks, but we're actually going for a second lumber camp. Seems like he's not really bothered with putting up a defense just yet. And even the mining camp over here as well, okay. He has done a great job at gathering wood though, so he's even able to drop the barracks now. And we'll have that one up before getting to feudal age. So overall the timing here is still pretty great for a 3 course. Just looks like he's not going for man-at-arms or anything, which is reasonable. Expecting also classic archer type stuff out of him at this point. On the other side, much different story here for Cheese, who's got just decent walls up already. House wall and the palisades in the east. Pretty good job keeping himself safe, at least from the front, and also going for the barracks on the way up. Has also made 20 villages. But of course with the idle time has taken quite a bit longer in the Dark Age, even without researching Loom. So 3 course certainly in a pretty good spot, arriving to feudal age first without that idle time, and having Loom researched already. Ends up going for the archery range just as expected, and also is starting to wall up at home, which is pretty fine timing. No complaints about that. Also early double bit axe here. And we see some skirmishing here. Oh, that's nice. Able to delay that enemy stable by quite a bit. It may not look like it a lot, but those 10 to 20 seconds can be the difference. That's one entire unit coming out of there, basically. So, yeah, just gotta be careful. It's not ideal that we're losing our Eagle Scout here, and it's also not ideal that we made a second Eagle Scout to help the first one. That's just not gonna do anything. Now this one has to run away, right? I mean, it's not a fight we're winning as the Inca. Or is it? I don't think it is. Oh man, am I a fake Inca enjoyer? No, I'm not. Cheese gets the victory there, but ends up losing the scout afterwards. Looks like wasn't paying all that much attention over here anyways. But I would have liked that spearman first out of the 3 course. Not sure why we even made another eagle in the first place. He's really... Well, I'm not a fan of this, right? Why are we making archers and eagles? That's lots of gold, but I guess we can afford it if we're sending 6 gold. I'm not sure that's the right call here, though. Personally, not a fan of going this heavily into gold units. It's early on for the Inca. I think archers and spearmen do the job just fine here. Especially when you're not even guaranteed to get into the enemy wall in the first place. He has scouted forward a bit. Let's actually see how much 3 course sees. Oh yeah, he's pretty good scouting. So he knows there's no dock out here. He also knows the enemy is pretty well walled. So I don't like the decision to go into eagles. When the enemy is walled like this already, don't think there's really a point in doing that. Let's see conversely what Cheese has got in terms of knowledge that he's working with. And it's nothing. Nothing at all really for the Tatars. So they don't even know exactly where the opponent is at just yet. Lots of scouts being queued up though. Single stable, 7 scouts apparently for Cheese, who seems to be a fan of queuing up lots of units at once. Doesn't have any farms just yet. But with this many scouts out, he's going to need some definitely before clicking up to Castle Age, since neither party opted for any fishing ships at all. Good timing on that wall. 3 cores here, able to get it up just in time. And, well, might lose out on some of those archers, but should just queue up another 1 or 2 spearmen and then be fine at home. And that's exactly what they're doing. Pretty good response here, can't lie. And has the archers forward, just sacrifice that 1. Fletching is already in, so I do like this game state for the Inca. Can't say I'm hating on anything here. It's looking pretty solid. Scouts forward, probably not going to find anything, although we have to complete this wall back here, and that's exactly what's going to happen now. Good job there on 3 courses part, while the archers forward might not be doing the most efficient work right here. But, well, what are you going to do when the enemy is walled like that, am I right? I mean, it's difficult to find any damage there. And of course, there's a lot going on at home as well, so has those spearmen over now. Would like him to keep at least 1 spearman forward with his archers, though, because otherwise they might just get picked off by the scouts. Gotta be careful about that. Lots of scouts. There's 10 scouts in the field, actually, for Cheese, and now even getting the eco upgrades. I don't like that. I think he should be upping. When both players are walled like this, there's no reason to remain in Feudal Age any longer. I want to get into Castle Age and start making villagers if the opponent is refusing to fight you, but never mind that. Looks like there was a hole in this wall. Infuriating when that happens, but we've all been there. Cheese makes the right call, deletes that palisade wall, and all those archers are going to go down. So overall, that is a good trade for the blue player. Loses no villagers, just some idle time, but gets to clean up all the enemy archers. So overall, he's happy with that. That's exactly why I said I would have liked 3 cores to ideally let at least 1 of those spearmen stay behind with the archers. Now he's just got spearmen left at home not doing anything. He's researching technologies that I'm also not a fan of. Scale mail armor for the spearmen. If he wants to fight your spearmen right now, that's not an efficient trade resource-wise for the Tatars. So by God, let him do that. But just get on your way to Castle Age. That's really what both these guys should be prioritizing at this point. There is no way you're going to break into the enemy space and make significant eco damage. So better off just getting to Castle Age. If you really wanted to make something else, make a dock. And get some fish out. That would be pretty efficient, since neither player seems to be in a position to harass enemy fishing eco at this point either. But yeah, that's just what my read is like. We've got 20 villagers here on food. That's 18 farms without horse color for 3 cores. Can't say I like that, but that's, yeah, just I guess both players here with the overinvestment, I think, in technologies or military in Feudal Age, when they were not able to get into the enemy space in the first place. And thus, they need to invest a lot into farms. At least Cheese did get horse color before, placing those 12.5 farms that really are going to be costly, and another 2 come out for 3 cores. But finally, he's on the way to the Castle Age. Market would have been a really good idea for both these players to accelerate the process of getting to Castle Age. But could have done away again with all of that by just maybe investing a little bit here and a little bit less here in Feudal Age. Oh my lord, look at this. We've got another 6 archers forward. For the Incas, they're going to try the exact same thing again. Looks like the wall has been closed off here by now, and the scouts are hitting the palisades in the front, but that should be quite easily wallable for 3 cores. The scouts don't even have forging just yet, so the damage is very much limited. Single villager can probably repair against that. On offense though, Incas realize probably not going to get a whole lot done, although somehow the eagle got in at some point. Looks like that house is going to go down. Oh, that was close. In fact, no, that's not actually a hole there, but man, those scouts here almost looked like they could get in for a second there. Good job though with the house walls again. And 3 cores is going to be paying attention. 1 minute ahead up to Castle Age. Let's see what he can do with that little edge that he's worked out for himself. Puts up the house wall behind this one. disciplined defensive play. No complaints about that so far whatsoever. And looks like he did end up getting in with the spearmen, not with the archers though. Although, no, he isn't. He's just not moving the archers. Okay, he's moving them now. Must have oversawn that, but man, okay, he is into that enemy base here, and this is pretty painful for Cheese to deal with. Pulls back the scouts. Sadly, the spearmen are completely out of position, so these archers might suffer. Gets one villager kill, but in come the scouts. Probably going to kill all the archers again. The spearmen need to start putting out hits. Okay, it's looking okay-ish, so even the villagers are helping out for the Tatars here, as he's going to clean up this fight, but this was quite painful due to that spearman number. Lots of these scouts ended up going down. Eco KD wise, we have the first victim, but overall that's not going to make the hugest difference. What is going to make a difference is 3 goals adding that early town center. Still, all these farms are starting to run out because there was no horse collar on that. It's actually Cheese who ends up being able to drop 2 TCs, probably by merit of saving the wood from these farms here. So horse collar, good investment in the long run, it seems. 3 Calls has invested quite a bit into military upgrades already as well, though. Has that scale mail armor, chainmail armor. Oh boy. At some point I'll learn those names. Not that day is not today though. Chainmail armor for the Inca is in just after losing all the spearmen, which is quite unfortunate. Transitioning into Eagle Warriors now though. I saw the upgrade coming in earlier, so those are already upgraded as we can see. Really painful to deal with. Light cavalry not doing the greatest against those anymore, and cavalry archers don't really either at this point with these upgrades that we're currently at. So the Tatars are going to need to stumble onto another idea. For now though, the idea that they've had is a pretty good one. It's just putting up town centers and trying to get a eco advantage that way. Has 31 on food somehow. How does he have that many? It's just 21 farms. Is he fishing? How's he got 31 on food? I guess I'm just tripping. Oh, I think he's hunting some deer down there in the south. Looking to break in again in the north, but I think in the long run he's not looking to remain on those scouts. Actually, looks like he's going into some Steppe Lancers here. The start of Castle Age. Love to see that. I mean, Steppe Lancers really cool unit, of course. We all love to see it. Super potent at raiding, but you need to get into the enemy eco somehow. Plate barding armor? Chain barding armor. Oh boy. Chainmail armor, chain barding armor. Okay, let's learn the words together, guys. Chain barding armor. There we go. Okay, the Eagles are working away at their house walls here. It's a bit iffy currently for Cheese, who just has to put up houses over houses over houses to try and keep the opponent out. And same thing in the north though, but it seems much more smoothly going for the Incas, who are cleaning up the scouts forward now. As I said, these Incas doing quite well there in mano a mano. And in the middle though, it's not looking as good with the numbers being well in Cheese's favor. The Steppe Lancers also, of course, in these medium to bigger sized groups, doing really good here. Being able to all hit at the same time, especially in these small choke points here on the amphibious terrain. Steppe Lancers proving to be very efficient with the extra range, so able to do good amounts of damage that way. And a big engagement is coming out here in the south. I think the Inca should still win this. Oh no, never mind, the second armor upgrade is in for the Steppe Lancers, so I'm not sure he actually wins this. It looks like the Eagles are just barely good enough, but it's difficult to tell really. Kind of even fight, but okay, the micro out of Cheese is not doing too bad. Focusing here the right units down, and then he ends up taking it. Man, I forgot about that, but of course with the chain barding he's able to actually win this one and cleans up all those enemy Eagles. Still has 13 on the map because 3 Corps certainly didn't underproduce those Eagles. With Cheese having deleted the walls over here, might be some villagers potentially dying at some point. Steppe Lancers have gone forward, but haven't actually tried to break in anywhere just yet, or been able to harass anything so far. Castle drop forward being attempted by the Incas. Remember, stone cost is cheaper for them. And they're harassing here in the backline simultaneously is really good. Really good attention by 3-Cores. Actually timing this really nicely with the skirmish in the middle. So Cheese isn't realizing this and has already lost lots of eco here. That's 13 kills on this group of 5 Eagles. Still climbing. Oh no, the Tatars, they're not paying attention to the backline here. It's absolute disaster for Cheese. Is he throwing away the first game here on the neutral map? Is he going to go down in the series just by not paying attention to his backline here? Really nicely timed raid by 3-Cores Eagles. 20 villager kills on these. It's absolute disaster. Oh no, the Step Lancers are into his eco as well though. Still, this is a massive eco lead he's been able to gather for himself, and still no reaction out of the Tartars. This almost seems game deciding. Because the pikemen at home are doing their due diligence there, and the Eagles are still running rampant in the Tatar eco. We're down to 39 villages. This has surely got to be it, right? I mean, I don't think there's coming back from this one. Cheese is going to be kicking himself for that once he sees it. And the reaction just wasn't there in time, while 3-Cores did put up with a very good response to the Step Lancers breaking into that eco. Pikemen were numerous and readily available, and still, well, finally there was a garrison, so can't say that the reaction wasn't there at all, but 2 Eagles here with 20 villager kills, kind of the whole story of this raid, as they're finally taken out. But I think this is too far gone at this point. 30 villagers down, castle probably going to go up in the middle as well sometime soon. Pikemen going to make sure that one goes through, and the push is being prepared by 3-Cores. The Incans have taken a real solid lead here by merits of that raid. Now luckily for Cheese, he's got 3 town centers already, and is thus going to be able to catch up a little bit in villages slowly. But if we look at the numbers here, we've got currently, what is this, 15 villagers working for him, with all these just running around and trying to drop a castle in the middle now. This surely has got to be the last effort, right? It does seem like actually half of his villagers are running forward right now, trying to put up the counter castle in the middle here. It's going to be later than the opponent's one though, and thus he's going to get spotted at some point here. Actually, the pikemen end up getting vision of this already, so this might actually be denied even. And surely that would be pushing Cheese over the brink here, right? I can't see him coming back from this one. Gonna be difficult enough to come back from it mentally here after being in such a nice spot here for the majority of the game, but really just 5 Eagles ruining the entire eco and game for the Tatars, who are able to get up that castle here. I guess that's the silver lining, but what does it really provide? You've got a foothold in the middle, that's nice and all, but your eco is just non-existent at this point. There's still Eagles out and about trying to get you. I'm not sure I see this going anywhere for Cheese, frankly, who is trying to put everything he has onto those farms, try and reboom somehow. But that's a very aggressive castle drop by 3-Cores, trying to really send a message here, and is on the way to imp as well. Compare this to the eco and the overall game state of the Tatars here. Oh guys, this is, it's pure pain really, distilled into our veins. You hate to see it, really, poor guy. But there's still games to be played in this series. This is just map 1, the neutral map. You still have the opportunity to come back. Of course, you need 2 victories to advance to the finals, and the best of 5 for the cash money prize. 3-Cores ends up deleting his walls over here. This is really poor timing for him. Of course, he couldn't have known that, but the Step Lancer, no way. Or he didn't see it. Don't tell me. Oh, this was his ticket back into the game. The 11 step lancers who could have gotten into the opponent's eco where there's no pikemen anymore. Well, they're all the way down here, so he could have easily gotten 10 to 15 villager kills there. Had he gotten in there, but I don't think he saw the villagers coming out of there with the walls that were deleted. Oh, this could have been so great, but sadly, Cheese didn't quite see the gift he was offered there, and thus not able to capitalize. Trying to still move around, find the open spot. Good job though by 3 course, deploying all the pikemen here around his base. And I'm wondering if maybe the imp timing is what's going to ultimately push Cheese over the edge. Now, the score situation doesn't look as bad for him, so maybe that's why he's not that defeated just yet. But 3 course is going to be able to start pushing with trebuchets soon. And that's going to be difficult for Cheese, because even though he's got good numbers here of step lances, enemy pikemen are just going to be able to protect those traps so well. I have to imagine here. Gets what? Why are we getting elite Kamayuk? I guess, I mean, I was gonna say, why are we not just using the pikeman mass that we already have? But Kamayuks are way cooler, and they get the job done as well, so I guess I might be doing the same. Interesting choice though, making Kamayuks out of the forward castle and trebuchets in the middle. I would like him to keep a few more pikes around the trap in the middle, because that is the main investment. This is the trap that has to be kept alive. So we really got to make sure you have army there to back it up, in case the opponent tries storming in there and taking it out. Kamayuk's not currently doing anything on the front either, so I wonder... Well, I wonder if that's the most efficient deployment of the troops. Upgrades are looking really nice. We've got the blast furnace, or what is it? Iron casting, actually, not blast furnace. That, of course, is the 3rd upgrade. But in a really good state here. Squires also coming in. He didn't even have squires yet. Oh, geez, and those eagles were yet able to do that much damage. Down goes the Tatar castle in the middle. And I mean, surely, what does Cheese have left at this point? About to hit Imp with no eco at all and no map control. All he has is that herd of step lancers, I guess. But the opponent has the counter prepared. And out on the map already. It's not going to be pretty. We see the 2 ranged boys fighting against the 2 ranged boys. Horseback against infantry. And the infantry are doing good enough to clinch the game 1 victory for 3 course, who as the number 1 seed look pretty okay here. I mean, no, he looked good, obviously. Just the reason I'm not super enthusiastic is that it seemed more like Cheese kind of throwing his good game state away here. It's not like Cheese had a lead really or anything, but looked like he was getting to Castle Age really nicely and had an extra TC up, so that could have been a potential win condition there. But then just with a really nice and intelligent play out of 3 course to start the raid in the enemy backline the same moment he was initiating the skirmish in the middle with the castle drop, that really caught Cheese off guard, and thus the series stands at 1-0 for the favorite, who's going to try and close it out now on Cheese's home map, which is Arena, apparently. So let's see how that one goes. Players well acquainted with Arena are going to have a massive advantage over players who don't really play the map. So maybe if Cheese is lucky here and has an opponent that isn't very familiar with the map, then he can get a good advantage on this one. I say let's dive right in there and see if Cheese is able to extend the series, or if the number 1 seed at 3 course is able to take it here cleanly in 2 and close out the series. Lithuanians against Malians for a spot in the final, or the rights to go to a deciding game 3. Either way, I'm here for it. This is going to be great. A lot of hype in this. Remember, this is my bracket. I could have been in this series. Well, actually, I could have been in the series on the other side of the bracket, but you get the point. This could be me if I wasn't so bad. So, these guys really, lots of big props to them. And whoever wins this, surely well deserved. Now, let's see who gets the better of whom on Arena here. Starting off on the right side with 3 cores playing as the Malians. Well, what is there left to say about this Civ that I have not said during my tournament casts here? I feel like I've just sounded like a broken record here, frankly, describing them. So maybe all that really needs to be said is great Civ, not so traditionally great on Arena, although the gold bonus is extremely nice. And infantry, yay! Love to see the infantry. They of course have this unique situation where they get the extra pierce armor per age. Don't get gambesons, but still very good infantry against traditional infantry counters, which are, well, arbalests. But good news for Cheese, he's probably wasn't looking to go into projectile units anyways. And thus, let's maybe just take a look at his Civ, because we have covered the Malians extensively in this tournament already. So let's look at what the Lithuanians instead are going to be doing. And they are really a cavalry Civ first and foremost. Have some interesting, interesting opportunities, windows to go for early plays with the extra 100 food that they start with. However, it's not the same thing that it used to be with the 150 back before the patch. And on Arena, that isn't going to be that massive in the early game anyways, where you're not really rushing people, right? So maybe it's just going to be a 340Z boom, and you're going to get your worth out of that bonus that way. Who knows? We'll see how he decides to play that. Faster trash units is pretty cool, so extra movement speed on Spearmen. So especially when you're trying to fight for those relics early on Arena, that would be useful there. Typically you see Spearmen fight Scouts in those scenarios. And remember, as we see here, Lithuanians really revolving a lot around being able to gather relics. And that is kind of the theme of Arena early game. Well, early Castle Age, which I still consider early game in Arena. So, yeah, that might be big indicator of where this game is headed, is when we see who ends up being able to secure more of those relics. Speaking of which, what's that distribution looking like? It's looking pretty good for Cheese, who has 2 really close to his gates, contrasted to 1 for 3 cores, and then we have 2 middle ones kind of neutral, almost at equal distance here. But yeah, really good start there for Cheese. And remember, you just need 4 relics to maximize your bonus, but 2 or 3 are already pretty good. You need 2 though to make up for the lack of Blast Furnace in the late game. Otherwise, 3 or 4 really good. 4 of course being ideal there, and might be a possibility depending on how well they play that here. I don't really see any magnificent bonuses for the Malians that would aid them in contesting those relics. So maybe the Lithuanians, with the extra food they get there in the Castle Age, and then the extra movement speed on the Spearman, maybe that's going to push him over the edge and help him solidify a big lead early on. Remember, what do we need the relics for? We need them for bonus damage on the knights, but also on the latest, which is pretty powerful, unique unit. Cavalry that actually ignores the opponent's armor, and that the longer the game goes, man, really hard-hitting enemy units that 3 cores is going to have to worry about, presuming he's forced to give up a few of those relics. So that's what we need to focus on first and foremost, and what I expect to be the focus and main center of attention here. Now you could also kind of play the mind game here as 3 cores and actually say, well, the opponent is going to prioritize relics, guaranteed, so why do I not do something else? Go for a super greedy boom early on, ignoring the relics, or go for, I don't know, go for a sneaky military play that he might not be expecting and have the counters to ready to. So it's difficult to say, really. But maybe there's an opportunity to even not commit into that relic war if you figure that the relics are distributed very unfortunately on this map, and that you are not set up for success in that regard. So maybe something worth considering here, although I'm not sure about the exact timings he would be able to hit there, and if he's even able to make any worthwhile plays other than just contesting the relics just timing wise. But just an idea, if possible, that is probably what I might opt for considering the map here. 3 course is the first to fuel age by about a minute, has gone up with 2 less villagers than his opponent actually, and maybe able to take a bit of a lead that way, although I have to say the eco is looking quite rough here. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get there. Oh, he's got 200 wood extra, and he doesn't need, putting up market and blacksmith, and was trying to, I guess, now go up after those 2 villagers. Is not able to do so, and just is going to have to sell that wood that he had. Now queues up another villager anyways, is housed, could... Oh, this is disaster. He sold the stone, he didn't sell the wood, he sold the stone and it wasn't enough. Why are we not just selling the wood? Oh god, this is horrible. 3 course idling himself for a minute here, really not necessary. Oh, so sad. Yeah, I was gonna say, why do we have 200 wood? I thought it might have been a plan there, but he should have just opted into more farms here during feudal age. Just ended up storing a bit too much wood, and that cost him here lots of idle time. And resources. Remember, that market abuse is crazy. You sold 200 stone on arena. That's all your extra TCs here at the start of Castle Age gone. So that is no longer an option. You're not even that much better of a Castle Age time than your opponent, despite him staying in Dark Age for 2 extra villagers. So that's crazy. 3 course really lost out on the momentum here. Lost a lot of pace there. Now it's gonna be Cheese hitting Castle Age just 30 seconds later with 2 extra villagers. He's going to be pretty happy with that, I would assume, and he's also got both those town center drops still available. 200 stone in the bank as opposed to 0 for 3 course. So I wonder what the plan is going to be for the Malians. Man, really not sure about this. Not off to a great start. But remember, he's got the luxury of having that game 1 victory in the bank. Up 1-0 in this series. He's also the way higher rated player. More than 1,000 elo above the opponent. Or more than... No, excuse me. More than 100 elo over the opponent. It's not that crazy. Daniela isn't that sadistic. Watching us bleed out against the elite here. 3 goals isn't actually like Cito on a Smurf, I hope. Cause, yeah, no. Surely Daniela wouldn't host a tournament just to have her friends go on Smurfs and take all the cash, right? Surely? I'm just messing though. Either way, we see now exactly what I was talking about. Cheese just goes out there, drops those 2 town centers, says, I'll take that plus 200 food instantly, please, at the start of Castle Age, and is then going to go into monks as well. I'm absolutely sure it's going to be what we see next. It's a monastery, still has... Oh, where does he have all that wood from? He still has 500 wood in the bank after dropping those 2 town centers. Contrast that with the Malians, they have nothing at all. They have that monastery and that stable, so 3 course has opted for that traditional play around the relics, barracks, stables, monastery, all out. So is going to get out there first, and actually probably trying to take that first enemy relic away, it seems. Going for the big one. Let's see if he does a good job keeping that monk alive. I don't like how there's no spearman being produced. We really need spearmen if we want to make sure this goes well. I would have expected the opponent to really go heavily for those relics as well, but in a weird reversal of roles here, it's actually Lithuanians sitting back a bit longer and just playing the long con here, using the pressure of simply having those Civ bonuses in order to, make the opponent paranoid, go out for those relics and just boom up super safely behind this. Up 8 villagers already, Oh, I thought he had seen this monk pick up the relic, and I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he did see this, and thus he sent the scout over to the western side trying to look for this monk, is what I thought. But no, it was actually just by chance that he ended up coming over here. And that is first relic picked up by the Malians, and going to get the second one as well. So that 3 Course has done a pretty good job of. Still not a fan of how there was 0 spearmen out on the map. But well, what can you do? 0 interest in contesting the middle by cheese. At all, it seems. Currently housed though, so those TCs going idle for a bit, it seems. Either way, now even getting chased around the middle here. But again, no military yet. He's taking this very slow, and he's taking the eco lead that he's kind of just freely being given. 3 calls with 3 monks out now, 5 light cav. Really investing into this relic game. Despite the unfortunate positioning, he's going to be able to get a majority here, if not all of them even, because yeah, not even a monastery yet for the Lithuanians. Well, this is my second most played Civ, I think, in ranked, and I couldn't restrain myself like this for sure, so Cheese is a better man than me, definitely in that regard. Though he's got to give up these juicy prices as a trade-off, though that's going to be well worth it. Up 20 eco units already, getting that wheelbarrow. Oh, the eco upgrades are pretty good for both players already, but man, 20 villagers extra for the Lithuanians. Now, are they going to be able to capitalize on this? Because that's something us low elo players aren't actually. Eco numbers don't always transition into actual leads or into actual damage to the opponent. Oftentimes we like to just build villages and then sit at home with all our resources in the bank. That actually, I checked the handbook, that actually doesn't win you the game though. So, still going to need to see Cheese convert on this one. As he's getting off to a great start here. I wonder what the play is going to be. I assume he's actually just, as long as he's not getting attacked by anything, I assume he's just going to be going for Imp. So just going to keep booming up, getting all those taxis. Yeah, lol, he's actually doing that. Monastery up, university going up. He's just looking to go to Imp pretty soon and go from there. I wonder what the units are going to be though, because your cavalry is going to be pretty bad in Imp. You have no blast furnace and 0 relics, so you just have 2 less attack than any other light cav or hussars, knights, paladins. Your latest are still pretty nice, ignoring armor, but they really lack damage. So I wonder what the play is going to be then for the Lithuanians. I mean, they have fast-moving trash units, so maybe that's just all he needs. But let's see, he's on the way to Imp. Up 25 wills and counting, although 3 calls also on 3 town centers for a while now, so he's going to keep up with the pace there. But it's gonna be difficult though, I gotta say. It's gonna be difficult from this spot for the Malians. Again, I'm still super curious about the unit compositions that we're going to see here though. Fortified walls coming in for the Lithuanians. Alright, impressive, nice little architectural overhaul. But really investing heavily into defense here. I think he's expecting to be pushed soon. Up 20 villages at this point. But why though, is what I'm wondering. Why are we building so defensively? I guess he just can't believe that he's getting away with this much greed. But well, seems like he is able to put up those stables now. And again, this is a bit awkward, right? Because you don't get that last attack upgrade for the cavalry, and thus you do really lack a lot of damage. But maybe numbers and eco are going to be able to make up for that. Wouldn't be all that surprised. And really, all he really needs, since he's going to be up to Imp way early, and 3 cores with quite the imbalanced eco here, could be up to Imp already as well, but doesn't have the building and has 1500 gold just laying around there. So Yeah, he's going to get up to him way early, and thus really all he needs is a few trebuchets and something to protect it against whatever the Malians are trying to throw at him, which is curious. We don't really know what they're going to opt for. And in terms of against those trebuchets, light cav would be my assumption. And as we see, speaking of light cav, he's going to get a really nice raid done against those castle building villagers. Knights now apparently the unit of choice for Cheese. He's going to be able to defend those villagers and get that castle to go up. Still sitting at about a 10 villager lead, and he's going to attack into Paladin, or at least for now, into Cavalier, it would appear. Yeah, really curious. We'll see how that turns out for him. Seems like the eco is also not balanced perfectly for him, as he's got lots of gold, but really nothing else. Same thing for 3 cores, they're also heavily using the market here, which Cheese I don't think has done yet, and if so, not to the same extent. This is hilarious though. Oh man. Okay, he delayed that castle by quite a while, but he's going to try and counter traps with traps, presumably. And I thought, yeah, Cheese actually hasn't utilized that fast castle spike all that well. Took him quite a while to get that castle up, hasn't been able to go into just straight up army production just yet, because he doesn't have those 110, 120 villagers. He's only sitting on 95 right now. Has 6.5 minutes of idle TC turn. That adds up quite a bit, and still counting. He has the resources there, so I do wonder. What. Why we're not full on pumping out villagers. Either he's just forgetting about it, or he's trying to save up for something, and looks like what he's prioritizing is... Oh, I think he's going to stay at 95 villages, actually. I think it's a conscious choice to stop here and just make, well, full-on military. But just as I say that, in comes another villager, so who can really know, right? Okay, so 3 cores is catching up in this one. I mean, he's really not behind in anything other than 10... Not even 10, less than 10 villagers. That's all he's really behind in. Upgrade-wise... Upgrade-wise, it's pretty much a wash, I would say. Cavalier out on the map, sure, but... I mean... We've got the pikemen there, so... Okay, I'll see. I'll be a curious spectator here. And try to figure out... who actually is getting the upper hand here. It's difficult to tell, because we've got the monks, we've got the pikemen. We've also got trebuchets on both sides here, actually. Neither has the advantage there, so it's difficult. But this Cavalier mass is too much to handle. Like, 3 cores cannot stop making pikemen or monks here. He's going to lose everything to this. Oh, he didn't pay attention there, and that's all the monks gone. No conversions even coming through, and that's going to be all the pikemen dead as well. Alright, Cheese is getting an awesome engagement here and is taking the lead in this one. I was going to say 3 cores was in a pretty fine spot where it didn't make any more armor, or army rather, and Cheese just kept building that Cavalier mass. Struck first, caught the enemy out there in a bad position where 3 cores wasn't looking, and that castle is as good as dead already, frankly. It's not pretty having those Cavalier run into the enemy pikemen and whatnot, but scale barding is now coming in, or plate barding. My goodness, this is never going to end. Plate barding armor in for Cheese, so the Cavalier are getting really tanky here. They're not going to get any stronger until he upgrades them to Paladin, I guess. But they are pretty good. I mean, 5 upgrades in, castle is down. It's got a pretty good amount here, 29 of them, and Paladin is on the way. Well, I think this might be it for 3 cores, honestly. Oh, really, he's got good villager numbers and everything, not really behind in that regard. He's now taking ballistics without having any units that could utilize it. I guess his town center fire gets more accurate. But he's again throwing away the pikemen before he's got enough of a mass of them. Oh, this is going to be super tough a trade. I mean, resource-wise, you could argue it's worth, right? Because the Cavalier cost gold, but no way. You lose all the pressure and map control here. It was lots of pikemen going down. These Cavalier have, what, 19 kills amongst them. Doesn't even sound as terrible as I thought, but down goes the TC there. And all this forward is going to be cleaned up by the traps slowly but surely. And again, these continuous waves of very few pikemen actually just going in there and being sacrificed really is all this is. Conversion at least coming through finally, but just one of them, surely not worthwhile. Losing all of these monks, villagers, pikemen, everything going down for 3 cores. And it's looking mightily a lot like we're actually gonna go to a 3rd game in this one. Cheese has kept up the pressure here in mid-Imperial Age. Paladin upgrade coming soon. And he's still continuously making new Cavalier so that the numbers never actually are going to decline. Castle will not even go up here in 3 courses base. This is not what he was looking for, I can assure you. As Cheese takes the entire map control and game number 2 here on Arena 2. Even out the series at 1 apiece. And we're gonna see Arabia, isn't it? Wasn't it Arabia? Game 3 on Arabia. Man, some honest AOE2. We love to see it. Yes, 3 courses home map. Number 1 seed of our bracket J. My bracket, mind you. He is going to try and hold up his end of the bargain and make it to the final. And Cheese is going to try and deny that from happening. An underdog player reverse sweeping a series would be quite something though. So, yeah, can't wait to see if Cheese is actually able to do that. It's 3 cores. Has taken a loss here. Going into the last map, which is now his home map, remember. So it's still an advantage for our number 1 seed here, who's trying to avoid said reverse sweep from happening. Remember, this is just a best of 3. Finals are going to be best of 5, but we're taking it 1 series at a time. And in this series, let's now enjoy the last game deciding who goes on to the final of our here bracket. Who's going to be able to play for that cash prize and earn all the glory among us low elo scrubs. 3 cores playing in the west on the left side here as the Franks, which well, let's check out their info, though it is a well-known civ, so I'm sure we all are familiar. Just as a reminder though, cheap castles, faster working barrack gatherers, free farm upgrades, and extra HP on the cavalry. That's kind of everything there for the Franks. In a nutshell, great scout rush as a result of this. Also, nice early castle age play with the cheap castles is possible. You've got throwing axemen if you need them. I love them. They're pretty useless oftentimes. Still great. And of course, the big kind of ace up your sleeve, the Frank Knights. Field across all lands with the extra line of sight, with the faster working stables from chivalry, but also of course just with the extra 20% HP. Pretty difficult to deal with. But also remember, this scout rush is super dangerous. You have faster working foragers, so that food comes in really quickly for the Franks at the beginning of the game. And man, those scouts, I'm just telling you, they come surprisingly early and with surprisingly much HP. So you really need a few more spearmen against the Franks than against anyone else. But on the other side, as though it was the year 1871, we've got the Teutons for Cheese, which, well, 2 classic civs clashing against each other here. And Teutons also pretty neat bonuses themselves. Also a farming related one here with the cheaper farms. But also, of course, quite different ones. We have the unit resistance to conversion. So if we're going against, if we're going like knights against knights with some monks behind here, that would be pretty decent for the Teutons, I guess, with the conversion bonus. But it has to be noted, though, that in low elo like this, monk play doesn't tend to be as clean, and monks more often than not actually end up being thrown away here without getting the due conversions off. Nonetheless, Teutons have the means to deal with Franks. I'm Sure. So it'll come down to whether or not Cheese is able to actually outplay here. Repdeck in chat, good to see you, saying the old Age of Kings matchups, they're the best ones really, aren't they? Reminds me of Woobly. That's okay, Grandpa. It's okay. Maybe it's time to get to bed. No, I never played multiplayer back in the days, but yeah, Frank's Teutons, that's some stuff I played in Mommy's basement. But yeah, good to see them still holding up. Now, oops, that's not where I wanted to go. There we go. Let's see what these guys actually bring to the table. This time around, for the first time, actually, it's 3 cores with bit of an issue here, keeping the TC working early on. Doesn't seem too bad. Maybe just got housed there for a second. Nothing awful. It was just Huns versus Huns every game back in the day, was it? Well, it wasn't in single player, I can tell you that. So maybe you've been playing the wrong thing all along. She's actually getting a really good trade here, it seems. Remember, no extra HP on that Frank Scout before Feudal Age. This is massive if he can get it. It's looking like he might be able to, but he still needs to be careful not to get auto-spaced here and not to take fights uphill and thus ends up turning around here. But decent early trade there in terms of HP. Frank's about to go up already, though, on those 19 villages, it seems. Loom coming in. Drops the food, good timing there. On the other side, Teutons, same thing, also just finished off on the loom. Oh, why are we still... Oh, we still have 2 villages in queue? And now we're queuing... Wow, why are we staying this long in Dark Age? I don't think this is a good idea. Just the reason being, you know the Franks are going to go for very early feudal, so why would you play this an extended Dark Age? Well, questions over questions. We see if this is going to come to buy Cheese, who's not walling at all. Okay, no, never mind this, excuse me. He is walling, just not anywhere that would actually make a difference here once those Frankish scouts start coming in. Don't get me wrong, it's good to close up this side gap here, but I mean, base is kind of open on all angles, so if we're playing a long Dark Age like this, quote-unquote long, right, 21 villagers, but in this meta, in this day and age, with this amount of Hera gameplay guides on the internet, the 21 Dark Age is actually on the longer end. Interesting though. Teutons can maybe get away with this if they commit to spears early and just past castle, maybe, says Redback. This is absolutely right. I mean, you can always just make minimal investment into defense, just make a few spearmen and try to fast castle. This is always possible in low elo against enemies that are gonna go for scouts, because they never end up just adding a few archers, or they, well, in general, right, that is always possible if you're walling at least a little bit, right? Your scouts are, your spearmen are really good and they trade super well against scouts. It's just the issue that you have to defend everything. And all your woodlines, well, he only has 1 woodline so far, so I guess that's not an issue. But his gold is open and his berries are open. You're not gonna need to mine some gold if you want to go up to Castle Age. So you're gonna wall at least the majority if you want to go for a fast castle in any situation. You can't just open fast castle. That is a bit too crazy. Whereas we've got Franks here already pumping out scouts, although actually bit slow here. Would have expected the scouts to already start arriving, but Cheese, 2 villages later, is in Feudal Age as well and hasn't been attacked yet, so neither party going for super fast action early on here, it seems. Oh man, okay. Franks now warming up a bit themselves. It's curious. They had the way earlier timing on the Feudal Age, but they're not going forward. Okay, now we're moving out, I guess, but at this point the Teuton scouts could already be here, right? I mean, he kind of gave up his advantage a bit there. Eco upgrades also coming in on both sides. So, typically that means nobody's really looking to play a short feudal. And interesting, okay, so the Teutons have somewhat walled, right? I mean, is a house wall? It is open though, I'm pretty sure. Can't exactly see this, but it looks like there might be a gap between lumber camp and house. Although, looking at it like this, yeah, I think there is. but it's difficult to tell. This is ironic. Okay, this is the bait wall. I guess it's working its purpose. I mean, come on. It's the only wall he has. There's nothing behind this. It's the most alibi wall ever, but it's actually working out here. No, wow. Okay, I mean, really good by Cheese. He's been getting value out of all of this. He's been getting value out of the scouts, killing their first villager, nicely done. He's been getting value out of the fake wall, which actually walled off nothing. He could have just walked around and got the same result. Of course, he doesn't know that, right? I mean, I'm making him look way more stupid than he is. Obviously, it's all in good fun here. But look at this. Cheese is actually getting way more value out of his scout raids here, out of his scout rush. Down go, well, the scouts apparently. That's not what we love to see. Don't want to dive that aggressively, but nice movement here. Okay, look at this. Oh, come on. Come on, move out. You did your dancing. Why are we moving in again? Oh, I'm getting a heart attack watching this. But he's done a great job moving around the TC there, minimizing the damage he's taking there. And 6 scouts alive for both parties. Back in the, well, opponent's ecos. This farming space is really tricky to make work on. That's what I said for the Teutons. Like, you can get away with this if you go for super conservative walls, send out a few scouts on offense, make 2 or 3 spearmen, and then go for a fast castle. Sure, I can see why we're doing that, because the Franks are not going to go for archers, especially at this elo. But we didn't do that. We didn't secure our back. So at this point, it's all down to execution. Both players are open, are dealing with scouts in their back line, and it's really down to who plays this one better. The farm snipe as well, yeah, you're right. That's not a Teuton farm, it was a Frank farm, so quite expensive building, if you will. Oh, there we see another scout dive though. Oh, I'm not sure that was worth it. And the Eco KD is 2-1 in favor of the Teutons actually. Still a quite close game, and the 13th seed, down 100 elo on his opponent, is actually looking pretty solid in this early game. It's 3 courses home map as well. Remember, I mean, he's not supposed to be winning this one, and he's doing okay, but he's losing a lot of scouts here apparently, trying to go for more dice. But still, nevertheless, he's taken out a few more villagers. It's 41 now in terms of KD. 3 course really struggling in this scout combat, and who would have thought the Teuton scouts would have been able to get that much more value than the Franks? But it's just been execution. And 3 course made all the right decisions. He did wall, his opponent did not. He did get up quicker, had a nicer build to feudal age than his opponent, but he then just didn't utilize that timing window that he bought himself with the great build that he had. He's even gone for spearmen, more spearmen than his opponent, but they have not gotten him the same value. It looks like he's now going to finally be able to clean up that scout attack, but Cheese is going to click up to Castle Age here in a second. Just needs to drop that gold off, presumably. Oh, he doesn't have the second building, my apologies. He needs that blacksmith. I mean, that... okay, not sure. Okay, he's just gonna drop it there. I was just gonna say, this is a bit greedy there with the scouts, but he doesn't know that the scouts are here, obviously. Wow, the combined 5 HP on these 2 scouts, and they get the kill on the villager. Man, that's value. That's value for Cheese. That's gotta feel great. He's 5-1 in Eco KD, 6 Eco units up on the opponent, and he's clicked up to Castle Age already. 3 course could do the same, but he also is lacking that second building, and only now clicks that blacksmith. So it's gonna be about a minute difference here getting to Castle Age. If I'm Cheese, I'm still trying to somehow start a wall up, because Franks are gonna go into knights. And sure, I can make monks, sure, I can make my own knights, but why rely on out-microing again, when I can just start at least putting up a wall and minimize the area that I can get hit in. So that's what I would like to see here at this point. Whew. Yeah, obviously true. Teuton's taking the feudal age here. Complete and utter victory so far. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure we need to be fanboying so hard over Cheese, especially over the wrong Cheese, but I guess you are right. Maybe it is down to the name. Who knew that the 13th seed would still be playing here in the semi-finals? The winner of this goes to the finals. This is the game for all the marbles. Spot in the finals, which is going to be best of 5 for a cash prize. And Cheese is looking well, he's just one leg ahead at this point. It's nothing crazy. 6 eco lead is not really massive in low elo play, but it's confidence, if nothing else, that he's probably gained so far. Better castle age time, has the 2 staples up, goes into knights, and is finally going for these walls. And scouts go in quite low. He might actually be able to just kill those scouts if he hit them, but that doesn't seem to be his first instinct. And there's the spearman though, so he's gonna keep the rest of the villagers safe. Still, he's gonna get that knight production up first. Triple stable apparently for the Franks, so they're really serious about this. And dropping a second town center already as well. That would pay big dividends here in the short term if he was actually able to get up a second TC next to the scout or the knights that both players are making. Those are finally going to go down. What's the upgrade situation looking like? Just forging that Cheese has on top of 3 cores. So his knights are a little bit stronger in that regard, but 20% extra HP on the Franks. So they're actually going to win any of those combats if they were to engage here. So I gotta be careful here if I'm Cheese. Only has 2 stables producing right now, to the Franks 3, and has less HP on the knights. Yeah, you're fully right. I don't expect players to kill scouts, low HP scouts with villagers at this level of play. I'm just saying. Okay, I don't think it's a good engagement for the Teuns. They don't have the numbers and they don't have the extra HP, but it looks like he's doing a really good job at microing. He's always hitting the same enemy knight with multiple of his own units. So he's gotten a really good and quite even trade. He's got 4 kills on these units against 2 on these. It looked like he got a pretty fine value out of that one. But, yeah. I think it was, again, pretty bold to take this one. So far, I don't think Cheese has actually made the greatest decisions at all times, but he's executed really well. Gotten the most value out of the few units that he's had. And he's actually on 3 town centers now. I didn't even see him dropping those. But, again, just like last game, he's able to branch out into more TCs first. And then maybe he can get an even bigger eco lead that way. Franks are still going to try to punish with monks and knights, though. Presumably. So that I'm still worried about if I'm Cheese. How do I keep the knights out? What can I do to do some damage on my own? Teuton knights get bonus armor too. Oh, let me see. What's about the Teuton knights? Did I miss something there? What bonus did I miss for the Teuton knights? Oh, you're right. Barracks and stable units +1 armor in Castle Age and Imperial Age. You're absolutely right. Man, I forgot they even had that. Would you look at that? That's good then. Yeah, that kind of makes up. I'm not sure what the maths is on that, but I would assume that almost makes up for 20% extra HP. +1 armor. On top of the forging that he has. And he's also got the chain barding that 3 cores is still researching. So this trade might even be worthwhile despite having quite the lower numbers here. Fighting within the town center certainly is good. Oh, there's a terrible trade for 3 cores to opt into. Oh, no. Oh, Franks, what are we doing here? We're throwing the game. Man, Cheese is getting the better of all these engagements. You can't be running into enemy town centers with your knights here, especially before the second armor upgrade comes in. Oh, man. Is this going to be an upset? Is this going to be the first? Remember, this is the first semifinals that we're casting. And possibly the only semifinals of any bracket that have been played just yet. I'm not positive about that. I think the other semifinals of this bracket might also have been played already. But it is the only semifinals that I have access to due to patch issues. So, yeah, the first player we're gonna see move into the finals out of all the 10 brackets that we have might be the 13th seed of his group, so that would be something. He's got to bring it home, though. He's got a pretty nice lead here. Eco numbers actually quite similar, but his knights are scary. Now, he's fighting a position that is a bit iffy. The hill bonus not quite in Cheese's favor here, and thus has to retreat. Has taken out the spearman, which is fine and all, but still lots of knights there for the Franks. Really, the conversion resistance on the Teutons might be paying off big time here soon, since 3-core seems to be going into monks quite a bit, and that is a big investment. If you're able to snipe those monks without losing too many knights to conversions, you're gonna be pretty happy with that. 100 gold per monk. Ooh. Alright, the knight numbers, you're absolutely right. Both players queuing up massively. Still, I'm not sure. Teuton's got the better queue, but I think I just like their army comp better overall. Well, army comp is quite the statement there. It's just knights and a pair of scouts, but that's all you need really against enemy knights and monks. And you're right. I said this at the beginning, but I like Teutons against Franks in straight up Night Wars, especially in Castle Age. Another engagement commences. Let's see who comes out on top. It looks like Franks has the better hill positioning right now. Gets 2 conversions here, I believe. Monks going down though. Knights fighting against each other is really messy. I can't tell who's coming out on top, but the Teutons seem to be doing quite good here. Numbers are very even, but the HP are more on the Frankish side actually right now. It's hard to tell who's getting the better trade here, guys. This is super close. Cheese is still alive though. I mean, oh, it was quite close. In the end, it looks like the Franks have a bit more remaining, but they lost their monks, which is more permanent damage. And it is difficult to tell, because I didn't count with exactly how many both got in, but 12 knights still in the queue for Cheese. Neither of these guys is currently thinking about going up to Imp. What 3-core is thinking about, though, is dropping a castle. He's got 6 on stone, that's kind of the magic number there, and he's got the Frankish discount. So it's like, what, 480 stone for a castle? He's almost there. Gonna be trying to drop a castle in the middle on one of those hills, I reckon. That would be big. Blast furnace in. Or no, it's iron casting, isn't it? Iron casting for the Teutons. And you're right, again. Cheese is ahead 1 upgrade on the opponent. Same knight numbers on both sides. 4 new monks have come out for 3-cores though. So again, those can kind of swing these fights. If you fight 20 against 20 knights, but 4 of yours are getting converted, I don't think you really got a chance in winning that. Unless you pull out like the elitist of the elite micro. Oh, he's open there though. This woodline has been overtopped for a while. If 3-core spots this could be bad news. But luckily, Cheese pays attention and drops the house wall before the knights even try and loop around. It's a good choice though by 3-cores. Very intelligent play. He's hitting the back line just as he hits 480 stone. Meaning Cheese is going to go back to defend this, and the middle priority is going to go over to the Franks. He's now going to be dropping the castle here. I think that was the whole idea behind this. As the backline is entirely open for Cheese, so this could be a massive raid. He really has to be careful with his villagers there. Oh, this could be terrible news. We could see a slaughter here in a second, and the castle is also going up, although not as far forward as I maybe would have liked. Cheese looking for his own raids, but for some reason 3-cores doesn't end up going in here. I can't wrap my head around what we are doing here. He spotted that TC. He sees the why are we not hitting anything? Oh, I really don't know what 3-cores is doing here. It's kind of dropping the ball. He's got a great position to raid, but I guess he's still going to get a good raid off, because he's going to break into the wood line. And he's going to get a few villager picks that way. EcoKD is sitting at 6-4. Let's track how it develops over the next seconds. The Knights are in, though, for the Teutons as well. And they're sending a lot more forward. It's messy on both sides. Villagers start going down, but this is great for Cheese. He's cleaning up the raid on the home front. And he's getting lots of damage done at the front at the same time. While Imp is coming in for 3-cores, he's kind of falling apart eco-wise. He's down 20 villagers at this point. And the Teutons have taken firm control of this game. And I don't want to call it early, but if this was a bit higher elo play, I would be confident saying Cheese is taking the series here. He's gotten the best trade he could ask for, somehow was able to raid while getting raided and get way more villages out of that. He lost none and killed 8 of them on the front. Now he's losing again a few knights to conversions, but at this point, I mean, you're in the opponent's eco, so he can get a few conversions. He's gonna lose villages and lose more. He does at the front here as well in the middle. The castle really not doing anything to save those villages, and all the GC vills are gonna end up being raided. You can only garrison 15, which he hasn't even fully done. Oh, he's completely falling apart at home. This is as good as over. 40 extra villages for Cheese. He's done it, really. Man. Pure Castle Age play here. Now, he hasn't clicked up to Imp for some reason. He's just keeping on producing knights. He's got like 2,000 gold worth of knights in queue right now. Well, it's more like 1,200, but either way, he's won the game with this. Doesn't matter that the Franks are an Imp whatsoever. They can't do anything as once they get there. Double the eco numbers. Cheese is winning the game and the series alongside. Man, what a guy here. Sadly, I wasn't able to cast this last series. I cast the first one though, and though I can't quite remember, we've been on this guy's journey here for a while in this tournament, and he's earned that final spot really. Taking out the number 1 seed of the bracket. What more can you ask for? But this was really good. He's lost the first game, the neutral map, which is usually very decisive in these series, which was on Golden Swamp. Remember, the first game we had, it was Incans against Tatars. He was completely getting destroyed by a 5 Eagle Warrior raid, taking 20 or 30 of his villagers, but at this point it doesn't matter anymore. He's turned the entire series around on 3 cores. Woo! And he moves on to the finals. What a player here. Man, hats off to this guy. Nah, I don't know, man. This is really good play for our bracket, man. We're in 900 to 1000 elo range, and these guys did a really solid job representing us well here. And we have the first finalist out of bracket J, and it's Cheese out of all people, 13th seed. Let me actually check real quick. It says here his peak elo was 1004. His current elo seems to be 823 and 32, but that was his current elo at the start of the tournament, so it's difficult to say. Peaked at 1004 elo apparently. Man, this guy, he's been overperforming in this event for sure. Clutching it up here. What a surprise. I really am glad I was able to come in and cast this series. It's the only series I could cast today, sadly, because all the replays are broken, besides this one. But I'm glad we didn't miss it, though, because, yeah, this was worthy of being cast for sure. And thus, here ends the coverage of the tournament for today. I'm going to have to wait until more games are played, because we are up to date live with all the series that have been played, minus the series that were lost to patch update. So yeah, here we are, and waiting for more rounds to be played in the other brackets as well, and so we can look at those too. But yeah, the Feudal Age was really where he got the lead. Absolutely right, I agree on that. Took the lead there very curiously with those scouts that I don't think should have worked out that well for him, but they did. Executed just way better there. And here in Castle Age, he also kind of the same story, but he didn't go in behind. He went in a little bit ahead into Castle Age. The nitrates went even at worst every time, and then in the end he got the big one when 3 cores tried to wrap around and come from the back. Cheese did the same thing, just a bit better. And yeah, thus ends 3 courses run in a tournament, but also props to him for winning those 2 rounds and getting here, while Cheese we're going to get to see play in the best of 5 finals sometime next week, I assume. And solid play. So whoever ends up facing him, whether it's going to be Noob or which is the other last remaining player in the bracket? Is it Nessie? I'm not sure. Let's check out who the other semifinals is. Yeah, Noob and Nessie. Whoever ends up coming out of that one, gonna have to really bring their A game if they want to win that final. So that's where we're gonna leave it at. I'll call it here, but I'll be back whenever there's new series to cast from the event. And yeah, keep supporting the event, most importantly. And I see you guys probably tomorrow or whenever there's more games, really. I'm just fully dependent on these guys scheduling and playing their games now. So thanks for coming out. It was a pleasure.